close up to your mouth when you talk, all right?
Okay.
All right. So, Cara, do you remember the first time that we met?
Yes.
Okay, where were we?
We were, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Let's make it just a little louder.
14, right?
Good.
Testing.
Maybe do it like square on.
Square on. There we go.
Try some other channels to turn. I don't know what is going on.
You have to like touch your lips to it.
You
That's
can-
what I'm doing.
How about as much volume as you can get on that? Okay. Can't do that.
What about now?
I don't. Good.
Now? Is
Switch
that
it.
better? I touched it with my mouth.
I'm backstage. All right. So, can you get that buzz out, Brian? Okay. Now it's on.
Turn it off. Okay, so it's 15.
It's like maybe some children came through and changed a bunch of dials. All right. So, where were we the first time that we met?
On 13th and Sampson, right? I don't know where I'm at right now, but
Yeah, right here is 10th and Sampson.
yeah, just 3 blocks down the road and to your right.
Okay. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Cowan,
Okay.
but I spent a lot of time at my father's, which was over there.
Shutdown?
Shut down. Yeah.
So we were at 13th and Sampson. Kara's dad, some of you may remember, his name was Jason Janney. And about where Ruby is sitting, for approximately the better part of 2 years, Jason sat right there in the middle of that pew. And Jason and I had met. I actually don't remember exactly where. I think it was on his porch, maybe. And he had a motorcycle injury and had to have brain surgery. And he was struggling with lingering effects of that accident. Go ahead.
Oh,
Oh, and
you're
then-
supposed to demonstrate this.
Okay, yeah. So then we met, I think, at your dad's house?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you and I talked about you coming and sharing this morning because it's a special anniversary.
Yeah, it's his 50th birthday today.
Okay.
So,
So Jason's birthday would have been today, and we lost him in 2017. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, turning to God's work in your life, it has been a really special thing for me to watch, and others as well who know you. When we were sharing on Thursday, you sort of started with growing up and not having the greatest experiences growing up.
correct.
Do you care to share any?
From like when I was a kid?
Yeah,
Okay.
like looking across the street and seeing that other family.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I lived with my mom and my stepfather in Cowan. I went to my father's on weekends. And I lived in a very bitter, dark home. I mean, we never went without. We had our needs met. But growing up, my mother was very bitter, very cold. We didn't get cuddles, no hugs, no I'm proud of you, no pat on the back. We just got yelled at no matter what we did. And it happened to be a pastor and his wife and their 3 kids that we went to school with lived right across the street. So I went to church with them on Sundays, and I went to a Wednesday night, a kids' church function. And I loved it. I loved being with these people. I would look at these people. I wrote the mother, and I feel awkward about it now, but when I was a kid, I used to basically write her love notes, but not in a weird way, but I wanted to be a part of their family. And it's really sad, and I feel really bad to even say that, but against my family. But when I was with them, there was no negative talk, there was no meanness, there was no coldness, there was just warmth. There was hugs, and this was the lady who lived across the street, and her kids, and I wanted to be a part of their family so bad. And, but I couldn't. But my father, I would go to his house on weekends. That gave me some relief from the coldness that I grew up in. So when I go with my father on weekends, we would, go out to eat, go see movies, go rent movies, and just have a blast. And I would go, a lot of the times before my dad got his career started, I would go to his mother's house, my grandmother. And I don't remember the yelling. I don't remember the fighting. And it was a exit from my reality. I didn't want to leave. I wanted to be with my dad all the time when I was a kid. And at the same time, I didn't really know who God was. I knew there were these people across the street. I always wanted to be a part of their life. I knew I could go to my dad's on weekends, and that was good. But then come Monday, I had to go back. And it just wasn't, my needs were met. And that's really all I have to say. I don't really want to say much more because I don't want to go into bashing my
Great.
mother.
No, yeah.
But
I think that was very appropriate, dignified, kind way of speaking. Yeah.
okay.
Graceful way of speaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but as we look, like how old are you now?
31.
Okay, so I'm 42, 31. Look back now at those people across the street, and we see like whispers of like God's love, like the concept of love being present in your life. Like he's laying like little tiny messages, weaving them into the fabric of our lives. So I know you got A's in school, right? You told me that once.
Yeah.
And I know that there was a period of time that things weren't going really well and there were drugs involved. Would you care to share a little bit about that?
As I got older, maybe about 12, I got in trouble for smoking weed. Of course, I was 12. I thought the world was over, I'm grounded for life. And right after my 12th birthday, my stepmother was like, if you're gonna smoke weed, you're gonna do it here. So I started smoking weed and drinking at 12 years old. And then as time went on, we did other things, harder drugs, at a very young age. Whereas my stepmother and my father's perspective on it was, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it here. And I was like, okay, this gave me an exit. This gave me some comfort. It gave me confidence. I was no longer sad. And at the time, I didn't realize how depressed and how suicidal I was. Now looking back, I realized how bad it was. But that's all I knew. So I didn't know. I didn't know that was not normal. I thought that was normal. So it gave me an exit. And at the same time, my mother and my father fought my whole life. And a few years went on. I think I was 15, and me and my friend took my dad's car out joyriding one night, and I got arrested at 15 years old. And a lot of other things came out. My mom came to me, and was saying she knew about it all, the partying and the drinking, and she knew about it. And I will go to court and I will testify against my father. And there's a restraining order in place. You cannot see your father now. And I was like, that's my happy place. That's my escape. How does she know? I was convinced she had the phone tapped and knew it all. And so at 15 years old, my best friend was gone. And I had to go to court with 5 of my friends from school and testify against my father for things that happened in the midst of our addiction. And it was terrible. And
It sounds really rough.
yeah, it was rough. It was really, really rough. And I went to Cowan, a very very small school, and I had to start ninth grade with a house arrest bracelet on for stealing the car.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Me.
Yep.
A student.
Yep.
Sports.
Got-
I excel
got
in
the bracelet
sports.
on, right.
And I walk into county
Freshman year.
of high school, and what do you know? The air's broke. So I tried to wear sweatpants to cover it up, and I couldn't. The air broke. So I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. So I go into the school, and now all my friends are no longer allowed to hang out with me because I'm a bad influence. So I lost my father and all my friends. So now I'm at Cowan by myself.
Feel like their moms and dads told them
Yes.
stay away.
Stay away from
I
here.
gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so let's fast forward a few years, and things are not going so well. And I met. It was really sweet that your dad and I met, and I can't say exactly when it was, where. I think it was on his porch, but for whatever reason, he sought me out, and he sought Avondale out. And I know that the last 2 years of his life, some clean, some not, and then in 2017, January, was it? Okay, he overdosed at the house, and of course that was, shocking news and very difficult. But there's a grace there that in the last 2 years of his life, God moved in Jason's world and brought him here, brought us together, and he was here more Sundays than he was not. And whatever was going on in those last 2 years, this was a place of peace and a place of friendship and a place of love for him. And maybe shortly after that, now actually I can't remember, when did you get involved in the Lighthouse?
2018.
Okay, so Dory, would you? Okay, Dory is part of the group that runs the Urban Lighthouse. And will you tell us about what the Lighthouse is?
Home.
Okay.
It's home.
Praise God.
The Lighthouse is a recovery home for women, and it basically is a hands-on approach to showing you how to live in a clean environment, and it challenges everything you ever thought you could believe, ever, like it did me. And it's a place of learning and comfort and warmth, and it's my home sweet home. That's what that is.
Would you share with us how you have seen God work in, we know that he's been working in all of our lives before we even know it. But now that you're paying attention, can you share a little bit how you've seen God work in your life through, from the street to the Lighthouse, to employment, to now two-time employee of the month at your place of work? Can you share where you see God's hand, God's movement? And then my follow-up question after that, take as much time to tell as many stories as you want. And then my follow-up question to that is, what's he forming you into? But we'll put that on hold. All right.
Well, kind of in a nutshell, I wasn't able to see my dad till I turned 18, and you bet the day I turned 18, I was at his door. I wanted to see him. I needed my friend back. And I had 2 children. I was in addiction. It wasn't at its darkest. I was pregnant doing drugs, and that wasn't my darkest point. So it got very dark. Well, I'm just trying to think where to start. I'm sorry. Well, I got pregnant, and I had a child, and a few months after he was born, my dad wrecked his bike, and he was in a coma for a month, and I just had a baby. My addiction wasn't so bad. I was snorting pills and smoking weed, and so it was a lot less than what it became.
You mean at that time?
Yeah, at that time.
So
So,
circle back to where the situations you were in and where God was moving.
yeah, well, God was moving when I gave birth to my children because I was for my first one, I was snorting pills and I gave birth to a baby that was not sick. And I remember thinking, oh my God, there's a God. Something out here something is weird. He had no drugs in his system when he was born. But with me being so young and having to deal with my father being in a coma, and his bike wreck totally changed who he was. He didn't, half the time he didn't know who he was. The other half the time he was crying, sitting on the floor rocking because he didn't know who I was, but he knew he didn't know. He was totally wiped, his brain. So with all that stress and being young, I found shooting heroin was something that I could cope with. So I started shooting heroin, and it helped me cope. It was my coping mechanism because at the time I knew there was a God, there was something, but I didn't have a relationship with him. I didn't pray, really. I knew there was a God, but I didn't know who he was, and he wasn't with me as far as I was concerned. So I was shooting drugs, and then I got pregnant again. And I was at my lowest point ever, one of the lowest points ever. I was 110 pounds and gave birth to a 7-pound baby with no effects of it. He wasn't sick. I walked to the hospital with holding him between my legs because I was so sick off drugs that the nurses thought I was faking to get pills. And I wasn't, I was holding a child inside me. And they put me on a gurney and was wheeling me back, and I gave birth to my son in the hallway. What about myself? And I remember just telling him, I'm not lying, he's here, I could feel his hair. He was in there.
They didn't take you seriously.
They didn't take me seriously, which I don't blame them. If you've seen me, you probably wouldn't have either. I wouldn't. If I seen someone in my shoes, I don't know if I would take him seriously, so I don't blame them for that. But he came out healthy. No effects. So that's 2 children now I've had with no health effects, no withdrawals, no, I mean, that was God right there. So that was my few little signs that I remember, like, okay, something's up, this is weird. Because that's not me, because they threw them both in NICU because they were sure that they were going to be withdrawing. And they released them from NICU. Well, they got sent home with me, which was not the best idea ever. Then DCS was involved, and they took them. They put him in foster care. My father got them briefly, but he was in the midst of, I wouldn't say he was fully dependent on drugs, but he coped with drugs, so it was not a healthy environment, and I wanted them there so I could still be around them every day, which was very selfish of me.
But he was also in pain.
And he was in pain.
Yeah.
He was not, and he had a brain injury. So I don't know what I was thinking, I don't know, but I thought that was a great idea. But he had his own health to take care of. And here I am coming addicted to drugs with 2 children. Hey, can we live here, Dad? That's great. Anyway, so that ended quickly, and then they got sent to my mother's house.
So go ahead, sorry.
Well, so like I get these little glimpses that somebody is directing the show here, and it's not me. But someone is, but in the moment, it was me. I was running this. There was something messing around with me, but I didn't know who it was, what it was. But I know I got 2 safe babies, and now they're at a home with my mother, who we didn't have a good relationship, but it's different when they're grandkids, I hear, so that was good. So I'm still kind of up in the air with God. I really don't know God at all, but I know my dad's alive, and I know that's good. But I also know that we were toxic for each other. So, but I knew my dad was alive, and I knew that this guy came up to my porch, and I'm in addiction, and I just was like, Dad, get the door with a bag of groceries. He had groceries. And I remember I walked out the back door, and I was like looking for when he left, because I had track marks on my arms. I mean, I was 100 pounds. I'm definitely not 100 pounds now, but I was rough. And I remember I felt this presence at this door that was very unfamiliar and very unfamiliar, it was foreign, it was not something that I ever knew anything about, so I don't want to be around it. Get me out of here. I don't want him around me, period. Get away. So I ran out the door, the back door, and waited for him to leave. And then my dad was in and out of his brain injury, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't, he kept telling me to come down to this church. We are going to this church, Gary. You're going to this church with me. And I'm bouncing back from staying with him to being homeless to going back with him and then couch sleeping to walking the streets to using meth to cope with, because when I was on meth, I didn't have to eat, I didn't have to drink, and I didn't have to sleep. And I was never cold. So I was skinny, I was dirty, I was nasty, but I was alive, so I knew there was something better for me. I just didn't know what it was.
I know you don't remember, but I remember
Vaguely.
seeing you, yeah, on the street here and there.
Yeah.
How'd you meet Dory?
Well, okay, so as time went
I
on,
think it's actually the switch, so if you just keep your thumb on the switch.
so as time went on, I got deeper in my addiction. My mother adopted my kids. My father, it was my birthday, it was 2017, and we're partying hard because I lost my kids and my dad is not in his right mind, but we're toxic for each other, and we know he needs me to get him drugs and I need him for his money, and that was our relationship. So on my birthday, we partied too hard and it took his life in 2017. So now, I went deeper in my addiction, deeper, did some time in jail, and then finally, this would have been my 10th rehab stay. I talked to God, and before all this, I would pray to God to take my life. You know, I would do massive amounts of drugs and pray and tell God, please just let me come where you are, because I know you're something, and I need to be where you are. I need whatever these people talk about, whatever these foreign people are that are happy and joyful, and I don't know what that is. Can I come with you? Please, God, just take me. And then I keep waking up, and I kept trying to kill myself, and God kept waking me up. And so finally, at the end of 2017, I threw my hands up and I said, all right, God, we'll try this your way. We'll do it your way this time. Since you ain't gonna take my life, I'll just try to live in this skin. I'll just try to live in this body. So I went to rehab, again, for the 10th time. And
I love that you just kept going back.
10 rehab stays.
I love that.
Well, have you ever heard of the song Jacob's Song?
I don't think so.
I'm not gonna sing it, but if you ever get a chance, that was my song, because I knew there was something out there. I just didn't know what it was, and I knew it wasn't me, and I didn't know how to get there.
You heard it, and something was drawing you.
Well, no, that song, it talks about, like, don't let me go.
Okay.
Like, don't let me go till you, something my soul, and till you change my name, basically. And that song, I heard it at Urban Light Church, and I just lost it, because that's how I was in addiction, because I was not going to stop going to rehab. If I had to spend the rest of my life rehab, in and out, that's what I was going to do, because God would not kill me like I wanted to do. He was not listening, so I was like, well, I'll just go to rehab the rest of my life. It's fine, at least I'll eat, and I'll sleep, and it'll be great. So, my last rehab stay, I said, all right, God, we're going to do this your way. So I went to rehab, and I stayed, and I looked up halfway houses. Well, they cost a lot of money. It's expensive to get sober, to find sober living. And I'm homeless, and I'm skinny, and I have cavity-filled teeth, and God knows what else I have. And so a friend of mine in the rehab was like, well, I'm gonna go to the Lighthouse. Well, what's that? Where's that in Muncie? Well, you can't get sober in Muncie. I tried that like 7 times. It's not gonna work. She's like, well, I'm going there. I'm like, well, fine, I'll try it. Well, I ended up getting released and getting an apartment. I went back to rehab after a week because I knew I couldn't do it yet on my own. So I went back to the rehab, and then I reached out to Dory again, and she's like, well, you can come this day. Okay, well, I don't got no money. She's like, you don't need the money. I don't have no shampoo, I don't have no food, what do I do? Cara, just show up at this time, do you need a ride? No, I got a ride, but I don't got no money, but we'll see how this works. I mean, I had my boyfriend at the time on backup, like, be ready for my call, because they don't want no money up front, so this is a lie. but we're gonna try this. Oh, because I'm doing it God's way, right? I'm gonna do it God's way this time, so that's what we're gonna do. So I went to this church.
Can I ask a question? So
Yeah.
just to clarify, you're saying that you're going someplace to receive some help, and they don't want any money, so you don't trust them. Okay, keep going.
So I didn't trust it, but I was gonna try it God's way, so I'm just gonna ride this wave and see where life takes me, because I rode it everywhere else and it didn't get me nowhere, so I'm gonna ride it His way. And I went to the church, and then I went to this home, and I didn't trust it at all. I went to this beautiful home, right in the middle of the neighborhoods that I used to run around homeless in, and I remember looking at like, this is where I'm going to get clean. Okay, whatever, it's not gonna work, but we're gonna do it.
Right by the Mulberry Street Apartments.
Yeah, that I did stuff in. So, my first overdose, bad overdose, was right there, and the first time I got arrested was right there, and I'm like, I'm in the middle of this. Okay, well, this ain't gonna work, but we're gonna try it. Because I'm doing it His way this time, not mine. And so I kind of gave up control at that point. And so stayed it was January. I was there about a month, and Valentine's Day came up, and in one of our groups, I don't remember if it was Dory or a friend of mine was like, here, this is Corinthians, I don't remember the verse, but it's what is love? What is love? And I remember reading it like, what? This love isn't proud? Love doesn't boast? What? Yes, it does. What do you mean you're not proud? I didn't understand it. It was totally off wall. So I just kept reading it over and over and over. And we went out to dinner at the halfway house, the recovery home, for Valentine's Day. And I just kept reading that because it was not clicking in my head, but I knew it was in this big book that I'm supposed to be paying a lot of attention to. So I just kept reading. And then at nighttime, I was like, okay, I'm talking to this thing. Don't really, God, we're on a different level now, so I'm not high. So I'm going to do this like what I'm supposed to do. Help me feel what is love, God, because I don't know. I don't know what love is. I don't know what it is. I just don't know. I know I love my kids, and it's the only love I've ever felt. I felt. So in Narcotics Anonymous, they like to call it your spiritual awakening. I woke myself up crying, and my face was wet. I was crying, and I woke up, and I just remember, I felt for the first time ever, like my life was going to be okay. And I just had this peace come over me. And I remember I just walked around this house just like, I get to live here. I get to live here. And this lady, Dory, I don't know nothing about her, but I'm gonna listen to everything she has to say. I'm gonna do what I'm told. I'm gonna read this book of rules like 3 times, and I'm gonna get it right this time. And I did. I studied that rule book. And when anybody came in after me, I said, read it again, because we ain't messing this up, because this is good. And I feel it, and it's okay, and I feel peace and joy, and whatever those people feel, I feel a little bit of it. And so read these rules. And so I did. I read the rules over and over and over. I didn't want to break any rules. I wanted to be the best resident ever at this home. And then we had house mothers come and read us book studies.
What's a house mother?
The house mothers come, and they're basically, I like to say, mini Dories. They come volunteering. They volunteer their time to come and mentor people like me. And I remember that was weird. My first book study, I sat with a very dear friend of mine right now. I love her to death. She's the very first person I really got close to. And I just remember being like, how much do you get paid? And she was like, no, we're volunteers, Cara. And she had this big old Bible, and I'm like, whatever. It's okay, don't tell me the truth. No, it's okay, it's cool. And then I got really close to her, and then I realized like all these people would come here and talk to us and mentor us and do things with us, and we get to go to the grocery store. What? But I don't have no money. But I get to eat, and I get this bed and this really cool comforter. Like what? Like, and this fancy body wash. Oh my gosh. And Crest toothpaste? What? Like who knew? Like who knew what that was? But I didn't have no money. So I'm still kind of like, but it's gonna be okay, and I'm just gonna ride this ride that God has put me on. And I just rode it. And as time went on, like I got to see a therapist. okay, I love it when people ask me, how do I know God's real? Because now, with God, all these people who come to this house, they don't get paid. Just to do it. Just spend time with people like me who are broken. And then as time went on, I got this therapist and I got a job. Well, then I made just a little bit more so I had no insurance to pay for it. And the therapist counseled me for free for a year and a half after. Oh, she still counsels me today, but didn't charge me anything. And she called me after I missed my appointment and was like, Cara, where are you? I'm like, Kim, I told you my insurance was running out. She said, did I ask you if you had insurance anymore? I was like, I'll be there. I'm there. But I don't. I make like $10 an hour. I can't pay. I'm trying to move out on my own. I can't pay. I don't want to make these debts that I can't pay back. I already have enough. Cara, just come. Okay. Then I had cavities. Of course, I'm broken. So I had cavities. I had health issues going on. And a dentist who my mother cleaned for said, Cara, I seen him at his church. He said, how you doing? And I was like, good. And he's like, have you been to the dentist lately? Well, no, I don't have insurance anymore. So I still have like 5 more cavities and I still need these 2 teeth out, but I'll get there one day. Do you need payment plans? And he said, no, but call my office and make an appointment. What? I called it, I said, you do a payment plan? Okay, I'm trying to move out this halfway house so you can't charge me a lot of money. Like, I already have enough debt, don't do this to me. And he fixed my teeth, dude. They're not perfect, but they're there. They're there. And I don't have no holes in them anymore. And this dentist covered my dental work for free. And you can't tell me they know God because he's coming out and all these people around me. All these people. And then these house moms. So now I have clothes on myself. I have shampoo, fancy toothpaste. I have a therapist, a dentist. I thought rich people only went to the dentist. Not me. No, I go to the dentist. Like, what? And then, as life went on at the recovery home, I got a job at In-N-Out Cleaning Services. And this was before Josh owned it. And so, I'm working, I'm doing my life right. And, but at the same time, I got a job, and then here comes back Josh again. And I'm just like, man, dude, my dad's here somewhere. My dad's doing something with you, man. And that's another reason God is so real in my life, and he just keeps coming full circle. And it's so crazy, and I live like I'm stuck on stupid. I live because God just keeps doing these things in my life that I don't know what happens. Because now he's brought Josh back around. Now Josh is my boss. Like, what? This is so weird. Oh my God, this is so crazy. So then, so now I'm working in and out. I'm moving out the lighthouse. Well, I have a bunch of debt to the electric company. Well, so it happens to be at the same time I need to move out, one of the house moms, her son, was renovating a 3 apartment home in the West End. All utilities included, perfect for my budget, right around the block for my work.
And it was really nice.
Oh yeah, it was fancy. Like you open a magazine fancy. And I was gonna live there. What? So now my mind's blown again. My mind just keeps getting blown. God is just, he don't stop. God doesn't stop. And then he hasn't stopped coming in my life, and he's still here. And so, I had this beautiful apartment. My job's down the road. And then 2 years ago, on this very day, my dad's birthday, how ironic, I get to see my kids for the first time in 2.5 years. And it happened to fall on my dad's birthday. I didn't schedule that. It actually got canceled twice, which was not my doing. And so now I don't get to mother my children. My mom adopted them. But I get to see them, and I know they're okay, and they're living, and they're happy, and they're spoiled. And I purchased a home. I own a home now. Me, who knew? In a car, a big car. Who knew? And so my kids don't live with me, but I purchased my home. Me and my husband purchased. Oh, I'm married too. What? So it's kind of crazy how God works in my life. I was homeless 3 years ago. I don't know. So we purchased our home 1.25 miles down the road from them. So their bus goes by my house every day. They don't get to call me mother, which is my selfishness because I just want that so bad. But it's God's world, not mine, right? So, but I get to see them. I also get to mother my stepdaughter. She's 4. So I don't get to be selfish and mother the ones I birthed, but I get to mother a beautiful 4-year-old girl, and her mother has been through a recovery home, who is still in it. But so it's how God brings me around full circle. So I was on this side of the fence, and now I'm over here, and it's really weird and foreign and uncomfortable, but I know that God's here and He's doing something, and He's directing the show, because I'm not doing it no more. But yeah, and then I got another job. I left it and out. I got another job making a little bit more money. And I'm doing really well at my job. I mean, I still have pain and heartache and things like that, but I know God now, and I have a relationship with Him, and we talk all the time, and it's really awesome. So I went from this little girl who, looking at these people across the street that I want to be a part of, through utter chaos, to things with my father, losing my children, to now I purchased a home right down the road from them, and I get to mother a child. People trust me with kids now. People trust me with kids. Like, dude, that's another thing still blows my mind. Like, I raise a kid. It's weird. I do. So.
And so I kind of, like, in my mind, I kind of see, obviously you've said it, but God taking the liberty to write, since it's His world, you know, right? And you and I, and those in the room, we are saying, yes, Lord, it is your world, and He's writing this story for you. When you say it comes full circle, what I hear is God's writing this story that ends in beauty. And you are the person now that is across the street who loves, you know what I mean? You're that family that loves on children across the street that you then, you know, you saw as a kid, but now it's you.
I like to think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you working now?
I work at Borsec. It's
Okay.
a meat packing plant in Newcastle.
Yep. And I happen to know that she's been Employee of the Month twice. Right? 2 times?
Yeah.
Is that right? Cara, thanks so much for sharing. Cara and I talked, and we said we're not going to sensationalize anything, and we're also not going to share everything in a way that would be sensational, but we're not going to hide anything either, and we're just going to I'm going to ask questions, and she's going to tell the story, and this story ends in God's goodness and whole lives. WHOLE, whole lives. Love you so much. So thankful that you could be here with us this morning, remembering your dad and the bit of peace that he had the last 2 years of his life, and then seeing the goodness of the Lord go from one generation to the next. Amen?
Yep.
All right, you can have the last word if you like.
No.
Do you have anything else?
Oh, I've been playing for 3 years now. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.